and we begin it with a chat with Quincy Mayor Thomas Koch. Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning, Joe.
Welcome to August.
Yes, beautiful morning.
Flip those calendars. Do people still use calendars? Flip those calendars over.
I know. I know all the technology, it happens automatically for you on your electronic devices.
If it didn't happen, we just wouldn't know what day it was anymore. There is so much going on around the city. It's just astounding. I was reading the update from the Commissioner of Natural Resources. Projects fore and aft, to and fro. It's just incredible.
Indeed. We got a great city. We've got a very strong community in so many ways. And, I think the people have a right to expect their government to do the job for them. And I don't care whether you talk about public buildings, you talk about parks, you talk about roads, it's happening citywide in every neighborhood.
Something new that's happening is we're counting all of the city's trees.
Yes, it's funny, years ago at the park department when I was there, and Dave Murphy was with me at the time, we actually had a company come in and we did a hand count of a certain neighborhood, essentially to get a good handle on the tree inventory, our urban forest, and to give descriptions of species and size and conditions. It just helps to make better decisions going forward, both on tree removal, on road rebuilding, and about tree planting. It makes things a lot easier. We would like to get it the whole city done, every single neighborhood, and have that master list, if you will, at the Department of Natural Resources headquarters, and the Forestry Division can then use that a little bit for their daily activities.
There's, I'm sure, been a dramatic increase since the last time this was done.
Yes, I mean, we've been very aggressive over the last several years about tree planting. And obviously, these trees are dying. We remove them every year, and that's a combination of, they've lived their life. They have succumbed to air pollution and salt pollution and compaction in the ground. There's a lot of challenges and a tree faces to try to survive on the side of a road. And that's why it's kind of limited on what you can plant in these kinds of conditions. There's a lot of trees that would never survive. So we're limited on the selections of types of varieties we do plant, particularly when you're talking about also planting under wires. We don't want to have a pin oak planted under the wires where the lead is just going to go right through the wires and the electric company is going to come in and chop it off. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. So this will help make good decisions going forward and help with the whole maintenance program going forward. And I think it's a good program for the Forestry Division.
Will there be some new trees at the new park that's going to be going in right downtown between the two new developments?
There certainly will be green space and park elements. We haven't got to that final point of design where I'm sure there'll be some trees. I just don't know the number and the species at this point.
Right. So that'll be a nice addition, really, to what's nothing more than a concrete jungle right now.
Yeah, I mean, when you look around, actually, in Kilroy Square, for example, through that whole area, all those trees, that was one big open asphalt parking lot.
Yep.
There might have been 3 trees in the entire, 8 acres, but it was unsightly and not pretty at all. And so, you look at just Kilroy Square, the amount of trees that have been planted in and around there, on the garage side, on the McGrath Highway side, Revere Road side. You go to McConville Way and Dunford Drive. There was no green space at all on the old Ross Way. Everything was a concrete jungle. So, I mean, these types of plantings, these pocket parks, they make a city livable, breathable, and more enjoyable for life. So it's something we, from day one on the downtown stuff, we talked about. Pocket parks throughout, including trees. People come out and sit under the shade on a hot summer day and enjoy the outdoors.
Mayor, where's the, Wollaston's turn now, Wollaston Center and the redevelopment project that's planned for there?
Yeah.
Any update on that?
We're working with individual investors and developers.
Yeah.
For example, the old theater block, the Galvin brothers have bought that, and they're looking to develop that site, which is a good sign. The block over at corner Newport and Brook has a number of those parcels have been assembled, and they're looking at a redevelopment there. At some point, the T is going to do an RFP for the parking lot to see if something should be built over the air rights of the parking lot. We do anticipate doing some road, sidewalk, and other infrastructure improvements in the area. The old CVS site, that back parking lot, a developer did come in to see us on that. We rejected it. It was far too dense. They were taking up every square foot. It was unacceptable, So there is activity going on. Not a lot of visible activity yet, but I think it will break within the next few months.
Oh, okay. All right. I've been asked by several folks what's going on there, and I didn't know, so I said I will ask you. So thank you for that update. Seeing as you brought it up, what about the Quincy Center T station?
Yeah, I mean, I'm scheduling a meeting with the general manager of the T and the Secretary of Transportation for a site visit. It's definitely on the T's radar. I'm trying to get it off the radar and more into the stage of execution.
Right.
They are going through a design process now of the station and internally going through exactly what their needs are. Should the head house, entrances, exits be changed at all?
Yep.
The ADA requirements that are needed, the new layout for the busway. So all their operational people are kind of weighing in on all of those issues now. As I said before, Speaker Mariano and the legislature has put some money aside for the station's reconstruction. So that's in place. The general manager of the T, we had a very direct conversation about this a couple of weeks ago. He has just put on some additional staff that will help kind of really move some of these projects along. That's been one of the challenges for the T is nothing moves too quickly. It's very bureaucratic. There are very few decision makers, so things get kicked around way too long. So I think his style of leadership is going to be good for the T, and I think it's going to have some good effects, such as the Quincy Center Station being moved along.
Okay. To that same end, any update on the new bus garage over on Bergen Parkway?
I know that they have applied for permits to upgrade the electrical feeds to the site. So obviously that's a good sign. They can't do anything with that site without the appropriate power needs, and you can only imagine those power needs are pretty strong based on the facility that's being built. But yes, that's been kind of refashioned, re-engineered, some value engineering done, and they're going with I think Suffolk Construction will be the contractor overseeing its construction. So they had to retool that thing. It came in, I think the number was $60 million over what the estimates were. So they had to go back and work that quite a bit. So as far as shoveling the ground, I haven't got that date yet.
Okay. You're well aware, Mayor, of course, the state has opened up a new welcome center on the campus of Eastern Nazarene College.
Yes, we were informed. I was informed by the Lieutenant Governor several days ago that ENC had responded to a statewide RFP, the state looking for these locations, welcome center / interim housing, until these immigrant families are situated. And ENC did go through that process without letting us know, which was concerning, and I expressed that to the new president, the new president was incoming while this process was already underway, so she didn't know a whole lot about it. And when questioning the state about some background and demographics, and there was very little information available to us. So, it's my hope that, and we're going to be asking for the state and ENC to hold a community meeting in the coming days to let the public know exactly what's going on there. So they have a good understanding. I know that there's folks that are very concerned about it. I'm concerned about the impact it may have on our schools. The state has indicated they'll reimburse per student cost for that, but the reality is we don't have any room, certainly in that district school. So we are scrambling now to make sure that we are prepared as best we can for this kind of situation that's been thrown on our lap.
So do we know any more about where these folks are coming from right now?
It's my understanding, most, if not all, but what was told to me, that it's heavily Haitian, Haitian Creole speaking. As we know from seeing the news, the country is in shambles.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
And it's atrocious what's happening down there. But I'm certainly a local official and a proud mayor of Quincy. But I'll tell you that the federal government has failed this country when it comes to the immigration policies. I mean, I know people who had come through the right way and couldn't get citizenship and had to leave the country, and they worked and went to school here. And then you get people that come across the borders, and we bend over backwards to accommodate them. And I'm not saying we shouldn't be doing things for these people, but it seems to be pretty messed up. And we're seeing it all across the country. As a country, we've got to get our act together. We're a city and a nation built on immigrants. So I'm not opposed to immigration, but I do think we have to do a better job on providing the right legal way. I mean, for example, people that take 7, 8, 9 years to go through the process to become a citizen, that's insane to me. I mean, and there's a million excuses, but instead of 87,000 IRS agents chasing us for our tax money, how about some more immigration folks to get these people through legally? Bring them in legally, like the old Ellis Island day. You come through, you get a physical, you get your vaccinations, you're assigned a Social Security number, and you spread out throughout the country to go to work. But the way it's been going on the last few years, I know there's a lot of resentment, even from our newer immigrants who had to go through the hard way to see what's going on. So it's a tricky issue. And I certainly don't want to feed into any hysteria. I know you see, and I've heard from people, I've taken calls the last couple of days, that people see what's going on in New York, and I can assure you that's not going to happen here in Quincy. We are, concerned on what the impacts it's going to have on our city services. I know that we are certainly prepared from the public safety aspect of it. We've got a very strong and well-equipped and manned police department. So, the tricky part is we don't know who's coming. We don't know their backgrounds. And that's why I think the community meeting would be helpful for the state and the ENC to explain the process, what actually will happen on the campus, the rules and regulations that go with it. So there's still a lot of questions we're trying to get answers to.
Okay. That's the information I have is up to 58 families.
Yeah, but what does that mean?
A family could be 10 people.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It could be one person,
right,
or it could be a single mother with 2 kids. But
right.
That's the kind of information we're trying to get a hold of, because it's definitely going to have an impact on how we deal with these potential kids educationally. And of course, we're talking to them probably about ESL, and if they're Creole speaking, then we don't know how many of them have any English at all. So there's going to be some challenges here we're going to have to deal with.
Do we know how long they'll be at ENC?
It's my understanding the lease that ENC has with the state is for a year.
Okay.
The individual families, I'm told, it's supposed to be kind of rotating in and out.
I see.
Maybe a month or two, and then they find a permanent place somewhere in the Commonwealth.
I see.
So not clear at all those things.
All right. When the public meeting is scheduled, please let us know. We can let the community know.
Sure, absolutely.
Good to talk to you, Mayor.
Thanks, Joe. Enjoy this beautiful day.
Indeed, yes. Thank you, you too.